What's up, family? Before we get into this video, I want to let you know that I have something for you. It is a guide on how to turn nothing into something. It coincides with this video, so after you take in the information, this is how you actually put it into use. I created a 4-step guide for you to turn everything into motion, whether it's your business, your finances, your relationships, or your relationship with yourself specifically. You can grab that in the description box of this video. Now, today we're going to be talking about leverage because leverage is extremely important if we're going to, get any motion, right? If you have no leverage, if you're under leveraged, you don't win. So I want to start off by showing you an Instagram post that by the time you see this video, it's going to be on my page. I'll also drop this post in the description box. So here we got 2 pictures of your boy. These are taken 2 years apart. 2023 on the left, 2025, this is about a week or 2 ago, on the right hand side. And as you could tell, I was a little bit pudgy back in 23. In fact, I was extremely pudgy. This is before I began my fitness, began taking this shit seriously. I was in the gym, but I wasn't eating well. I wasn't doing the right exercises. And as a result, I was getting under leveraged opportunities. I was getting passed up on opportunities. No one saw my worth or my value the way that I saw my worth and value. I knew that I needed to make a change. So little by little, I did. I switched up my diet. I stopped eating, a lot of processed foods. I stopped watching TV. It's not to say I don't watch anything on Netflix every now and again, but I stopped watching that shit. I stopped falling asleep with the TV on. I started to journal and to write. I made a whole lot of small changes in order to get into a leverage position. So this transformation is a lot more than just the physical. It's a mindset. It's an identity transformation. I view myself as a completely different being. On the right, you see a man that's confident, that knows whatever he wants is his. On the left, you see an uncertain individual, and you can tell by his physique. So I show you this because I wanted to give you a visual representation of the Lionheart transformation. This is what I'm calling it, the Lionheart transformation, and it's a mindset for unlimited leverage. And I'm using this transformation to build an international run club, which, by the way, I was a runner in high school and in college, but I've never hosted a running event ever in my life. So I'm starting with nothing. As of this recording, I don't even have a logo for this thing. I have absolutely nothing, but I know that I'm going to get enough leverage in order to start an international run club. Stay tuned for that one. I'm also using it to become a multi-7-figure entrepreneur. And the first thing that I'm using in order to make this happen is vision. And vision is my ability to see what I want, to see where I'm going, and what events mean as they're happening in my life around me, right? The more clarity that we have with our vision, the more likely we are to transcend our goals. And our goals or aspirations should never be bigger than us. If you think about a goal and you get nervous, that's okay. You're supposed to be, shook by your goals. Why? Because that's your subconscious mind telling you we got some work to do. As individuals, it's not just the outside. We've got to become a different person. But they should never, your goals and aspirations should never outweigh you. Why? Because everything that you have is going to be a byproduct of the person that you build yourself into. All right? So the size of what we want is just a fraction of the person we need to become. And this is best said by one of my idols and mentors, Jim Rohn. Look him up on YouTube. He's the man. Jim Rohn said, work harder on yourself than you do your job. That one hit home for me. Most people work their hardest to fix the outside world, not realizing that they're always going to fall to the level of their standards, right? So the higher the standard you set, the more superior the results you get. So that brings the question, how do we transcend our goals by addressing our standards? And I created a simple 4-step situation that I'm personally using to elevate my standards, just to have a higher standard of myself. Step number 1 is to begin asking who instead of what. You're always going to have something that needs to get done, but all tasks are not created equally. Just because you could do something, it doesn't mean you can do it well at your current level. So consider who you have to be in order to accomplish your goals. So some questions that I've been asking myself are, what's my personality like when I start an international run club? What kind of person am I? If I became that person right now, what would I be doing? Or what's the difference between who I've been and the person that I'm becoming? What are the major differences, the discrepancies? These are just questions I'm asking myself because they cause an immediate shift, and it positions me closer to what I'm trying to achieve. But more importantly, it positions me closer to the person that I've got to become. The person that I got to become has a whole lot more perks than the goals that I want to achieve. 7 figures in a run club ain't really doing much for me, but becoming that person that does these 2 things, that right there is the goal in and of itself. That's what we want. We want to become the person, right? So yeah, obviously it makes our dream reality. Step number 2 is to always plan for a longer period of time. Never plan for the moment. This is one that I actually just learned and began to implement about a week or 2 ago. And you would be like blown away by the results that I'm getting, opportunities I'm getting, the clarity of mind that I'm getting. If you're a guy and you work hard, I know how you feel. Busting your tail, trying to get to where you're trying to get to, but you're always playing catch up or always trying to stay afloat. When you begin to plan for longer periods of time, it all changes. So as an entrepreneur, I used to spend a lot of time on Instagram, creating content, doom scrolling, and just comparing myself to people that I would see. Even if I didn't think I was doing it consciously, it was happening. I was too involved in right now, and it was burning me. It was really starting to burn me up. The problem with planning for right now instead of for longer term is when you're done planning, or you got to execute. And after you execute, you immediately got to repeat that same cycle over and over and over again. It's not enough ROI. You position yourself to respond to life instead of dictating life. You understand? If there's a line here and we're responding over here and we're dictating over here, we want to be on this side of the line. We're spending too much time figuring out what the next move is. That's exhausting. Eventually, we're going to need a break, right? Because we're always planning for the moment. And every time the moment ends, we got to plan again for the moment. All we ever have is the moment. So when you shift from short-term to longer-term planning, you get tons of that time and energy back. And you can use that time and energy on tasks that have a way higher ROI. Okay? At first, you're not going to know what to do with that time and energy. I didn't know what the hell to do with the time and energy. And I realized, just do more of it. What I did is funny. I planned all my content on all my social media platforms a week in advance. And, I created everything I needed to create. And I was like, damn, what do I do? I scrambled a little bit and realized, plan the next week. So I planned the next week. But in all of this time, I had opportunity to get outside and actually show my face and shake hands and get this run club thing going. Why? Because I began planning for longer term. I raised that standard. I'm never planning for the moment. We don't do that shit. Step 3 is superior framing. And framing is the story we tell ourselves about life. The story you tell yourself dictates your life and the results you get. So it kind of makes sense to tell yourself a story that positions you in a place of power. And the reason you haven't been doing this already is because of why? Conditioning. So we got to break free of the way of viewing life that you were taught growing up. Here's how we do it. This part is going to blow your mind. So this picture here, I learned it from my idol and hero, Bob Proctor. You can also find Bob Proctor on YouTube. Look him up. So let's pay attention to the left side first. We got this little diagram. It says, what is mind? Our body is this little small circle, and this is our mind. This is our head, right? It's cut into 2 pieces, conscious mind, subconscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is our awareness. This is our ability to think about what we gotta wear, what we gotta do, what we gotta eat, all of this stuff, it happens in the conscious mind. The subconscious mind, however, doesn't make any decisions. It just takes the paradigm and the self-image of what we repeatedly put into our conscious mind, right? So the subconscious is a follower. It's supposed to be. But we act based on the subconscious mind. We view ourselves based on the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is influenced by what we put into the conscious mind. So what we're doing is we're acting like big kids, right? We have our conscious mind wide open and we're taking on everyone's drama, everyone's information. We're doom scrolling on social media, and this is all going into our conscious mind, right? Which is seeping into the subconscious mind. It's planting seeds of doubt, planting seeds of uncertainty. And as a result, those are the results we're getting. The results that we get have everything to do with our attitude, right? And our attitude is influenced by what we consciously put into our mind and then how we view ourselves subconsciously. That's our attitude toward life. Attitude dictates actions and ultimately the results that we get. So when we begin to understand this, we understand that we have to work actively to frame our life as one that we're in control of. You're the boss. This is your life. This isn't anybody else's life but yours, right? And when you do this enough, it'll become habitual. The same way it became habitual to doom scroll and to be doubtful and all that, it's going to become habitual to position yourself as the boss of your own life. But it takes repetition, and you never know when it's going to happen. If you want it to happen faster, so to speak, you just got to put more reps in. So reps is not just this cliche work hard thing. No, like it's actually a science to it. You need to cast more votes for the person that you're looking to become in order to shift your personality into him or her. When it's a habit for you to be in control of your life, you achieve all of your goals with no friction. Step number 4 is understanding the game of life. And this one just comes with like being a player, for real. Understanding life moves at its own pace. You can't directly control when things happen, but you can control yourself and you can find the rhythm of life. And this is what I call the pocket. The pocket is similar to the eye of a hurricane, right? In the eye of a hurricane, it's chaos all around, it's destroying homes, it's flooding everything, but you get to the center of that baby and it's so calm. It's so calm. You can see all of the turmoil in the distance, but you're like Aang from The Last Airbender, you feel me? And that's that pocket. You're gonna know that you're in the pocket when a couple of things happen. When you realize there's no resistance between what you want and the process of getting it. When you don't want anymore, it's like, I desire that. And then you begin to attract things into your world. It's not to say you're not putting the work in, but it's to say like you understand how to get what you want because you get the game of life. Creatively, you're at an all-time high, and now you live in the present. So that, brings us to big fish, small pond. And I learned this one in the video too. I just watched it the other day. This guy, his name is Jeremy Haynes, and he was talking about positioning, which we'll get to in a moment. So when we transcend our goals, we don't have a problem with change. We actually welcome change because we understand that our goals represent a certain type of person that we need to become. By the way, if you notice, I keep talking about the person that you become. Notice it's a verb. Faith without works is dead, deceased, my guy. So we actually got to put some work in. You understand that you can have, be, or do whatever you want. A lot of times, people are like, when I have it, I'll be it. Then when I can be it, then I'll do it. Nah, you actually have to do the verb first. You have to do it first. You have to do it so that you can be it, and then you can have it the other way around. So here's some examples of just the hierarchy of life. For example, you started a business currently, right? That's me. I decided to start the business. And I didn't have this idea, or it was just an idea. About a week ago, just had the idea. But I know that the level above me, this business is on autopilot, multi 7 figures, international run club. I'm out here in Italy. Yeah, my home base is Atlanta, but I'm out here in Italy. My run club is, catering to the world right now. There's levels to this shit. When you understand that there's levels and that they're never bad, you get off of the emotional roller coaster of life. Understanding things could always be worse and they could also always be better. Wherever you are right now is in the middle of those 2 points. And this spectrum is constantly moving. It's never sitting still, ever. So people trip and get emotional of life because they're focused on where they want to be or living in fear of where they don't want to end up. And these two things are known as anxiety and depression. Anxiety is living in the future and depression is living in the past. That's why they say stay present. I had to pause on that one because, we live in a fucking epidemic of people, just being too focused on what's going to happen in the future and what's going to happen or what has happened in the past. The trick is to take life in stride and refer back to that chart with your subconscious mind, because whatever you focus on, positive or negative, is going to begin to grow. Okay? So that's all I have for you in this presentation. I really hope you understand that in order to get to where you want to be, you have to become a new version of yourself. But that's the ultimate, gist of this video. The 4 steps is awesome, but just understand internally you've got to become someone new. The version of you watching this video is on the right track. However, your actions now need to back it up. It needs to back up this mindset. Go to that description box. You can grab that free guide and put it to use, man. Like, it's free. It's not much. I ain't gonna lie to you and be like, oh, this is the best thing of all time. Nah, but it's all about perspective, and it's all about what we say in this chart. We spoke about constantly putting things into the subconscious mind, and it begins to seep into the subconscious. Put it in the conscious mind, it seeps into the subconscious mind. Over time, our self-image changes, which is going to influence our actions and our attitude, which is going to give us the results that we want. So it's a process. So go ahead and grab that guide. You can also give your boy a follow on IG if you see fit. Like, comment, subscribe on this video. I'm going to be dropping more stuff like this because obviously we need tangible steps that we can take in order to get what we want and be who we got to be. All right. It's important. There have been people that have done it for me. So now it's up to me to do it for you, man. I'm your boy Lionheart Chris. Make it a great day, and I'm going to holla at you.